If I see a man with a gun who is not a cop, I'm going to assume that he is a criminal. I'm not going to wait until he points his gun at me and says, give me your money. I mean, if he's got a gun on him, somebody's carrying a gun, and they're not wearing a police uniform, they're probably a criminal. The Constitution gives me the right to protect myself by running over this guy with a car if I see him with a gun. If his gun makes me fear for my life, it will be the 12 jurors who decide if it was self-defense. But it'll be my word against a dead man with a gun. So who are they going to believe? The cops come out, there's a dead guy laying there on the ground with a gun, and you're in your car and you say, officer, this guy had a gun, so I ran him over with my car, and now he's dead. You know, it's your word against this dead guy with a gun. And so the juries are going to believe you, not the guy with a gun. And so this guy is completely insane. He should not have a gun, because anybody who thinks he can walk around with a gun and not be a cop has got some serious mental problems. Because the Constitution gives every man a right to protect themselves against people who make them fear for their lives. And if this guy's got a gun, he makes me fear for my life, makes a lot of other people fear for their lives, so they really have a right to run over them with their car. That's what the Constitution says. Now, if these gun carriers don't like the fact that the Constitution gives every man a right to defend themselves against gun carriers, they should move out of America. In California, I lived in a weekly rate hotel. This is the place criminals go when they get released from prison. I lived in a trailer park by 9 Mile and Dequindre, and this is one of the lowest income neighborhoods in the state. This is where criminals go when they get released from prison, and it is where criminals live before they go to jail. A criminal is someone who got fired from their job at McDonald's, and they don't know what else to do to feed their families. They are people who have mental illnesses. They are people with less than high school education. They are people with the mentality of children. Many of them are indeed children or teenagers, or they started breaking and entering when they were teenagers and never got caught until later in life. Some of their parents were career criminals, and they learned from their parents. Many of them could be considered to be mentally retarded. Some have a disease called alcoholism. Most of them use illegal drugs because they cannot afford the doctors to get the legal drugs. One guy applied for a job at McDonald's, and McDonald's would not hire him. A guy gave him a break and taught him how to flip burgers at the local hamburger stand. For 8 years, the man flipped burgers and no longer had to sell drugs or break into houses to survive. But then it happened. He got fired from his flipping burger job. I knew right then he was going to have to turn to crime to survive. Many gun-nut retards will claim he shouldn't have stole, because the gun-nut seems to have less intelligence than the guy who got fired from his flipping burger job. What kind of job can you get when you are fired for stealing at your job flipping burgers? The man was too simple to know that he was stealing. A lot of gun nuts will find it hard to believe that there are actually people in the world who are more simple than they are.